Hello everyone and welcome to another deck profile. Today we're doing a Pendulum Guardragon profile. This is my first place deck from locals and I hope you enjoy it. It really helped me out. I won 3 games and I drew 1 game, which was really good. So 4 matches and yeah, not losing once was really helpful, and I came joint first with the other guy that drew. So yeah, it was pretty good. I was quite happy. We didn't have enough time to do a round 5. But hopefully the other guy that came joint first was playing heroes. I was quite confident against that matchup. So I think maybe I would have won, but with it's no telling. But here we go. Let's give you an example of the deck. So first off, we're running the 3 Chronograph Sorcerer, which is pretty standard in any deck with the 1-time Gazer. I used to think Time Gazer was a brick until Triff, the Pen God, informed me that actually it wasn't, because you can normal summon and they can't pop one of your cards, which is really helpful. Yeah, I actually really love it now. I don't feel like it's a brick anymore, and it's real godsend actually. So we are moving on to the next magicians, which is 1 Dragon Pit and 1 Dragon Cooler. Both of these magicians are really helpful. I love Dragon Cooler. It's really unique in the way it works. Being able to turn any card into a dragon is really helpful when you don't get the Dark Worm to the grave, or you just are out of dragons, and it helps you get that guard dragon strategy really easily because you can get this from your Pendulum Call. And then of course Mystic Mine matchup. I mean, anytime they play Mystic Mine, just have this on the field. It's so good. I cannot even describe how good it is. Yeah, I just love it so much. Next we have the 1 Oath Dragon. I was thinking about cutting it, but I can't. I just having the ability to get harmonizing back for free without using your heavy metaphors Electromite is just so useful. So yeah, this baby stays at 1. Our next one off, and some people may argue against this, is the 1 Purple Poison, because I prefer having the high scale of Black Fang. And yes, I know this card has a brilliant effect when it's destroyed, but I feel like I can just recycle this easily enough because it's a low scale. I'm never going to use it in the scale, really. I mean, it has a great scale effect, but I've got other cards that I'd rather put in the scale. Then we have Black Fang. This is what I usually search out when I go Pen Call. I go this and Harmonizing, just because it's a pretty bog standard good 7. It's good 8 scale, and its ability to half the attack points of your opponent monsters is just really useful, and it can save you some games. Next we go to Harmonizing. Oh, in fact, actually, it was really good because I didn't have any low scales, apart from one in my hand, and I had this in my hand with this. So I activated this and then placed this in the scale, used its effect targeting my opponent's monster, halving its attack points, destroying this. Then I was able to place in my scale a Servant, which was really helpful, and I could Pendulum Summon. It's actually a really good strategy. I quite enjoyed that. Next, we have the 2 Harmonized Magicians. These guys are really good, though I have cut it down to 2. I've only cut it down to 2 because, personally, I thought 3 was a little bit bricky, even though I love harmonizing so much. But 2 is just so much nicer. I don't draw it as often. I get it mostly off Pen Call, and it's so easy to recycle, so 2 is fine. I mean, if I take it to the Worlds event and I have to cut it down to 1, I think I'll still be okay, because I'll just add maybe a second Purple Poison if I go to the Worlds event. But yeah, so I do feel like they may end up limiting this to 1 like they did in the OCG, but I don't know. We'll have to find out on the next ban list. So our next engine is the 3 Servant. Pretty bog standard. I love this card. Just play it, get your counters on it, special summon the 1 Jackal, because Jackal is just so much better off this rather than off the big guy Cerberus, because Cerberus can so easily be hand trapped and you're left with a card in the scale that you can't Pendulum Summon with. I mean, if this gets negated by a hand trap, it's like, meh, I still have a 2 scale. You have a 4 scale, I mean, you're stuck with a 4 scale. But yeah, and then we have our next one, which is Endymion Master of Magic. These are my 2 I go between. I do love this card a lot, but I tend not to use it, I'm going to be honest. I mean, I like having the ability to add this to the hand using this, but I don't know, it's very situational. I mean, if I went to a second Servant, put it in the scale after when I did the search effect, I'd maybe go for this one because I can just add the Servant from the scale. It just depends. Like if I got Servant out before I did my plays, I'd always go for the Jackal because I'm worried about hand traps. But it works either way, which is great. Next we have the 3 Supreme King Dragon Dark Worms, real MVP of the deck with the 1 Gate 0. I can't deny how much I love this card. It's so good. Send it to the graveyard and you get to special summon it and add this to your hand. And then this is really great for another play that I'm going to show you a little bit later, which involves a Romulus and Tempest, which is really cool. And next we have our 2 cards. 2 of Curtain Raiser. I was never a fan of Curtain Raiser because I always felt it interfered with Darkworm, but I kind of feel like you do need it. Having the extra option to special summon. I mean, say if I got Darkworm in my hand and nowhere to discard it, and I had this, I use this for the special summon, and then I normal summon the Darkworm and go through my plays as normal. And it's actually really useful, especially running Servant, because if Servant's in the other scale and you activate this, it counts as spell activation and then you special summon it, which really helps the plays, especially to get that Jackal out to negate the hand traps, which is really helpful. Next we have the 1 Aether, or Ether, however you want to say it. Yeah, I love this card, though I swap this out in between this and Sloth, which is in my side deck. Sloth's great, but if you're going first, I mean, if you're going first, it's great, but if you're going second, Ether's really helpful. Yeah, I mean, say I lost a dice roll, so I kind of tend to prefer to have this in the start of the deck. So if I end up losing dice roll, I have an option, so I can special summon this and then banish 1 card in the field, and it really helps. Then we have our 2 7s that aren't pendulums. We have the traditional Destrudo, and of course, Big Boy Tempest is back. He is so good. I love him so much. But yeah, he's part of our extended Guardragon play, which I'll show a little bit later if I have time. Oh, thunderstorm outside the window. I do apologise for that. We have 3 Spell Power Masteries. Okay, Spell Power Mastery is just so good, especially in tandem with the Servant of Endymion. You can add the 2 to the Servant and then search out a Servant, play the Servant, special summon, and then you have a 2 scale, which is really, really good. But yeah, it just helps your plays out. Now, we are really scared in this deck of something called a hand trap. So we run 3 of Call by the Grave in the main deck. It's so good. Really, really good. And my light's just gone out. Okay, you can kind of still see it. Call by the Grave is really good. Thank you, sweetie. Call by the Grave is actually really, really good against hand traps. I mean, I played it a few times during the tournament when people dropped hand traps on me. I was lucky enough that a lot of the times people didn't draw into their hand traps. So I managed to get away scot-free with a lot of my combos, which was very, very helpful. Especially in my very last match, which I won, which was against Draco. Draco Domain, which was really... I was so thankful. Then we had 2 Duels Alliance paired with our 2 Pendulum Call. There's no reason to explain this. Having the 2, I always thought 2 was brookie, but now I realise with Servant, having 2 is kind of necessary. And not running 3 of this is obvious. So I like having the 2 and 2. It just, you play this, add the Pen Call, then play this, and that's 2 counters on Servant. Instantly, 2 counters. And yeah, it's just very, very helpful. Our next 2 of is pretty obvious. It's 2 Pot Desires. Now, some people would argue with me, say, James, this should be at 3. But I'll argue that the amount of times I end up with drawing a Pot Desires from a Pot Desires, I don't want to see this very much, if I'm going to be honest. And when I do want to see it, I have the constant fear of it being hand trapped or Solemn. If they go first, Solemn Judgment is a real thing now. And yeah, it's just losing 10 cards from your deck isn't as useful as it used to be. Still good card, so I still run it. But it's better when I'm going first, hands down. Then we run the new addition to the deck, which is the 2 Allure of Darkness. I love Allure of Darkness a lot. Wasn't running it until someone convinced me, James, you have so many darks in your deck, you're not going to lose out. And they were right. I haven't discarded a single hand to the graveyard in all the games I've been practicing with, which is something that none of my other decks could actually say. I think it's usually because I don't activate it unless I have a dark in the hand, which is what I usually do. Then I have the 2 Dragon Shrine. I love Dragon Shrine to bits. I mean, it sends a dragon to the graveyard. You have so many dragons sent to the graveyard. That's effects work in the graveyard. Yeah, MVP. Real MVP. Love it. Now we have the 1 Dragon's Ravine. Some people are like, why are you running Dragon's Ravine? You're not running the 60 card variant. But I actually run a Dragoon Knight Romulus in my deck. So actually having this means I get extra plays, which is really nice, especially when I set up my board and I can send a Destruder to the grave, special summon it and get another Synchro, which is very good. And continue our sending to the grave. We have the Foolish Burial, send a monster to the graveyard, pretty standard. And then I love this card and both hate this card. I was playing a game 3 and I activated it in my first turn and the guy just stalled for time. Well, he could have. He activated Instant Fusion. It tied the game out. But yeah, I've learned my lesson. I'm definitely starting this out game 3 now, even though it's such a strong card. Yeah, I just can't afford to give him that life point advantage. But yeah, so it's time to get on to our extra deck. So first of all, our new addition to the deck is the Borrelsword Dragon, and my god, it's so good. Though I occasionally miss Borreload and the fact that I can steal stuff, but Borrelsword is such a strong effect. Yes, it's just good. It's just really good. Then we have Triple Burst Dragon. Triple Burst is, again, really good. It's all we really use it for. We don't use its effect. We just want that 1 arrow. And the fact it's a dragon for the Guardragon strategy, which is really good. Then we go Heavy Metaphors Electromite. Self-explanatory. If you've ever run Pendulums before, you know what this is for. And you also agree with me that this should still be at 3 because it was broken and we loved it. Anyway, then we have the Guardragon Agripane. Agripane is a really great card for the Guardragon combo, especially someone from the extra deck. And we could do a really nice combo with Romulus and this. We link off the Romulus into this, which is really nice. And we can get the Vortex and the Hot Red Dragon Archfiend at the same time, which is really great. And speaking of the devil, here's the Romulus. And I love this card. We can search the Dragon's Ravine. We can, if we have Electromite, how's the strategy go? Yeah, we have Triple Burst here in the scale with LP. And we go into Tempest. Let's find Tempest. Go into Tempest. Then we, because we've already done our Dark Worm play, we hope, we have a Gate 0 in the other scale. Well, not in the scale, we put it just here because we go harmonizing here, link off into Triple Burst here. We then overlay the 2 of these into our Odd Eyes, link these 2 off into Romulus, go for the search and get the Vortex. And then link special summon from the graveyard, this, and then we link these 2 off and go into Agripane, basically. It's really, really strong. I love this strat. Anyway, back to the showing off the deck. I'm getting ahead of myself now. But yeah, so Triple Burst, Romulus, and Heretic Seal. I love this. This is a great end board. It's just so so responsive. The fact you can get, especially when you side in the Sloth, you can special summon Sloth from it, and people just don't expect it game 3. They're like, oh, you've got Ether. You're like, I special summon this. Especially in the mirror match, if you watched it in one of the last videos, I go Sloth. And the guy's like, oh, you run that, do you? So yeah, it's really, really good. I absolutely love it so much. Then we have LP. LP is just great. Great. My extra deck is backwards. Okay, so LP is this bog standard Guardragon play. Then we have the Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss. This card is badass. Like, so good off LP. Off Agripane. And when you have the Vortex in this, it's just game over for your opponent. I was deciding between Borreload and Omega. I went Savage because, I don't know, I feel like Omega only works if you have the engine for it, the hand trap with the driver. But I thought that was too bricky. I felt Cool Red Gravism was a much better choice. So I went for Savage Dragon because it's really, really useful. I mean, usually you only get the 2 negates because you usually add the harmonizing because you banish the 2 for your extended Guard Dragon play. But if you do happen to have a triple burst in your graveyard, Savage is really good. And then we have Ignister. Ignister is just really good. I don't run the little boys, as you probably noticed, so we don't have that access to that effect, but I do love his shuffle into the deck by popping one of it. And if you're going in a mirror match, you can pop one of your opponent's scales, which is just really good, especially since the amount of Pendulum players that now seem to have come onto the scene because of the success of Pendulum decks. So yeah, this is now a lot more relevant than it used to be. Dragster. Just negate a spell or trap card. It's just good, so I like it. And it's a 7. And we can get it with Destrudo really easily, so I like it. Then we have Absolute Dragon. This is for extended Guard Dragon plays. We can get the Vortex out and the Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss so easily because of this one card, and I love it to bits. Then we have our Tornado Dragon. Tornado Dragon is just really great. I only really use it for Mystic Mine. I mean, most other decks I come up against, like Draco, like their cards to be destroyed, so I don't really use it. But when I'm going up against Mystic Mine, it's just, you need it. You need it. This is great against Prank Kids and a lot of other decks. Abyss Dweller, it's quite relevant. So yeah, I like it. I don't really go into it as much. Since Sally got nerfed, I don't tend to use it. I mean, I used to, when Sally was the main deck, I would blind Abyss Dweller, but I don't really need to anymore. And then the one Odo's Vortex Dragon, kind of self-explanatory. Really good card. The side deck is subject to change, but I might as well show you anyway. I'm probably going to add some Super Polys in. I have one, I need 2 more. I'm using my original secret rare, and I need a Venom, Starving Venom. I have the Predator Plant, I just need Starving Venom. Okay, so I have 3 Denko, because we are scared of face down cards. Solemn Judgment is scary. So if they want to negate this summoning, okay, that's fine. Though I much prefer it. If I'm being forced to go first against a trap deck, kind of this. But if I've already got my board set up, I don't really need this. So yeah, it's subject to change. This is for, I only run this 2 because, I mean, I don't really see Orcust anymore. I do see it, but not as much. So I feel like 2 is a good choice because it gives me a little bit more space in my side deck. And then I have the 2 spheres for the mirror match. I love these, but that's why I want more. I want more removal. So Super Poly, I feel like, is a good choice. Actually, and what's really good is I can actually get my Ordo's Vortex from their using Super Poly if I'm going to the mirror match. Then we have, obviously, I've been talking about it before, the 1 Sloth. This is literally to swap out with Ether. I'll probably do this game 2 anyway, just because I don't expect it, and it's just really helpful. Yep, this is for Cyber Dragons, obviously. At my locals, there are a few Cyber Dragon players kicking around. Cyber Dragons are a lot more relevant now because they're just not, there's not as many good decks around, so yeah, it's useful. And if I do have that, I take Romulus out and put Beat Cop in because I want to be able to get this off the field. So I can just normal summon a monster, link into this, and continue my plays from there. Then we'll go Twin Twisters. Love a bit of Twin Twisters, me, but they're a bit, yeah. So I might take this out for Cosmic Cyclones. But the only problem with Cosmic Cyclones is life points, especially in the late game. So maybe MSTs. MSTs might be good, but like I said, I'm getting some Super Polys, so these will probably just come out for Super Poly, if I'm going to be honest. And then the 3 MVPs, these are never coming out. They saved me so many times. Red Reboot. This card is just like, whew, blows decks away. I love it to pieces. Anyway, so that's the end of the deck. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you have some questions about the deck, please let me know down below. If you liked it, please put a big thumbs up. I really need it. And yeah, I just love it. Yeah, it's been really good. Getting first place at locals was really fun. And yeah, it just feels a lot stronger now. I mean, I just know in October it's going to get nerfed to hell, but it's not October yet, boys. So yeah, and of course the new rockets are out now, so they kind of rival this in speed, terms of speed. But I feel like with rockets, it's whoever goes first. So yeah, and if you did like this, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And yeah, see you in the next one. Bye, guys.